In the last episode of the Wolfsburg Career Mode, we signed Demagoy Broderic to add some squad depth at the left back position. Some clutch performances in the DFB Pokal and Europa League saw us lift 2 trophies to round out our 3rd season. Hey, what's going on everyone? Flick here. Welcome back to another episode of our FIFA 21 Wolfsburg Career Mode. This is episode 7 and the start of season 4. Coming off a very successful 3rd season with the club, we're looking to continue that momentum and potentially become the top team in Germany, if not all of Europe. I think the pinnacle of success for us would be winning the Bundesliga title as well as Champions League, now that we have managed to lift our first trophy with the DFB Pokal as well as Europa League last year. And of course, this is the squad that has managed to get us here. The standout players in the team being Castells the goalkeeper position and Mbabu at right back. And on one hand, it's pretty incredible the ratings we've managed to achieve with this team. On the other, I am looking to offset dynamic potential a bit by moving some players in and out of the club. As we're now approaching, if not already in the new year for some of you watching, this is always a time of reflection for me as we look to shape the content on the channel in 2021. For me, the recurring theme that I'm looking to achieve with my content is to continue telling football stories that I find interesting and some of you may find interesting as well. I think we've been able to achieve that here with Wolfsburg, kind of getting aspects of their 08-09 Bundesliga campaign with some of the Brazilian players in the squad, as well as some standout players that didn't necessarily expect to be huge players at the beginning of the save. I'm still not entirely sure when this save will be coming to an end. If we have another good 4th season and we check off all the competitions we're looking to win, we might end the career mode there. We might go on for a 5th season. That's still yet to be seen. So I am looking to take on some feedback for the next career mode featured on the channel. If you want to have your feedback heard, make sure to leave that in the comments section. I'm probably looking to do a Premier League or a La Liga career mode, so that's going to be the area of focus. But until then, of course, our focus will be on Wolfsburg. If you're enjoying this series, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you stay up to date on when all these episodes go live. We do have a board objectives refresh for season 4 as we look to improve upon our manager rating. I think this is the same one we had previously for youth development, basically starting to incorporate some of our youth academy signings into the first team. We'll see if that's an area of focus depending on what kind of youth academy talents we do promote. Moving on to brand exposure, we need to get 5 wins in away matches this season, as well as sign 1 crucial first team defender. Financially, we need to complete this objective of making a 3 million profit from youth academy sales. That lines up really perfectly with the number of players in the squad because we've reached our max squad capacity. I am looking to offload some players, and I think youth academy players would be probably the top focus. For domestic success, we need to win the DFB Pokal and win the Bundesliga title. Continentally, the board wants us to reach the final of the UEFA Champions League. Mbabu was already starting to receive offers in the January transfer window of last season, and I think interest is even higher now that he's shown a successful European campaign with our Europa League final win. Manchester City came through with another offer for him, 140.3 million this time. That is already well above his market value, but I was looking to go into talks and maybe reach an agreement on a swap deal. We've had our eye on Kevin De Bruyne for quite some time, with him of course being a former Wolfsburg player prior to his move to Manchester City. And I was looking to do a swap deal plus a little bit of cash for Mbabu. I tried my best to make this deal happen, but Pep was not budging to let De Bruyne leave. So we eventually reached an agreement at 156.5 million to let Mbabu leave for Manchester City. That brings our transfer budget all the way up to 351 million. I think this is the highest I've seen so far in a career mode this FIFA. And straight away, we're going to look to bring in Kevin De Bruyne on a permanent transfer because the swap deal did not come to a fruition. I'm well aware that De Bruyne is 32 years old, so we have a limited time frame for him to keep that high overall rating of 89. It has, of course, gone down a little bit since the start of this save, but I think he's the right kind of player to bring in as we look to find success in Champions League. We really do need that quality. At the end of the day, this ended up being very close to the deal I initially proposed to Manchester City as we brought in De Bruyne for 126.7 million. He'll be signing as a crucial first team player for us to a 2-year deal and agreed to a pay cut at 165 grand a week for his contract. Of course, with the departure of Mbabu, we've got to bring in a new right back, and Diogo Dalot from Manchester United was at the top of my list. Wolfsburg have some history of signing Portuguese player, but moreover, they have a pretty unique history of signing Premier League players that aren't necessarily receiving too much playtime. They did that with De Bruyne when he was still at Chelsea, and considering the number of right backs that United have in their squad, I think Dalot would be okay with this move. We've got to remember he is just 24 years old, so that overall rating will definitely go up over the course of this save. Agreeing to a 4-year deal as a crucial first team player to help us meet that defender board objective for a contract that was worth 80 grand a week. Because John Anthony Brooks is now 30 years old, I am looking to sign a new center back into the team. He's not necessarily going to take over the starting role at left center back, but I think Gabriel would be a good addition to the squad. Here's kind of my rationale for doing so. I know he's a current Arsenal player, but he made the transfer to RB Leipzig, who are struggling so far in this save. And as a result, I think it would be realistic to have a player of this caliber competing in European competitions, especially Champions League. There's also the fact that he's Brazilian, which is one of the more common nationalities for Wolfsburg players. And for the contract, he signed as an important first team player to a 4-year deal worth 70 grand a week. I quickly want to address the situation with some of our other center backs, most notably Bender, who was our homegrown talent that we had very high hopes for at the beginning of this save. Unfortunately, he just hasn't developed as quickly as I'd like. That doesn't mean he's completely out of the picture, but he's still going to be a squad rotational player for now. But as far as other transfers go and players leaving the club, Gerhardt is off to Burnley for 11.7 million. Schreiber, one of our youth academy player promotions, going to a fellow Bundesliga or Bundesliga 2 side in Hamburg. And finally, Barcelona decided to submit a transfer for Boksic, one of the newest additions to the team from our youth academy. That ended up being a total well over 10 million if you include the departure of Race as well. But definitely some good deals in this transfer window. I'm happy with the players that we brought in, and now we're not at the max squad capacity since we've let some players go. We'll keep on scouting the world and look to bring in some more talented youth academy prospects, setting up a network in Germany for 6 months looking for any type of player. Pretty optimistic about this scouting network in England for 6 months looking for a winger. And finally, we'll be setting up a network in Poland looking for a physically strong player. Got some final squad updates to cover before we kick off this 4th season. Gilovogi will be retiring at the end of the year. He played a crucial role for us in season 1, actually captaining the squad, but since then, he's kind of developed into a squad rotational / reserve player. I think that is playing a role in his decision to retire. Hervan is also retiring at the end of the season. I think he only played 1 match as a result of a Castells injury, but I wish him the best in this last year. And I've been reading over the comments. There's been a lot of suggestions that I set up more development plans, and I did exactly that. I'm not going to talk about each one just because there's so many to cover. But as an overlying theme, I changed the position of some players to help boost their rating. Along with that, for any aging players, I set up a development plan to hopefully slow down the declining of their stats, as well as setting up a box-to-box development plan for so many of our center midfielders. Perhaps that'll be the difference maker, but we've got some new competitions for the gameplay today. 2 different Super Cups, one for our performance in Germany and the Pokal victory, the other being for the Europa League title. Along with that, we'll feature a little bit of footage from the Bundesliga as well as our Champions League group stage. The gameplay in today's episode will begin against Borussia Dortmund, and while their front 4 is unchanged, the rest of their squad has seen a number of transfers, and clearly it's worked out for them. They won the Bundesliga last season. Considering our success in the Europa League, we're arguably in similar form, but the main question is whether we can do it with our new look squad. This first half was largely one-sided as we applied a lot of pressure on this Dortmund defense. Rashica winning back possession, utilizing the rainbow flick to get over Mendy, and a decent shot on target saved well by Asenio. Now it's going to be De Bruyne. Can he mark a goal on his debut? He has enough pace to get by the defenders, but it's Sabitzer who finally catches up at the end. Now Roussillon pushing up in the left back position, what may be his final season at this peak rating, sending in a good cross to Weghorst, going narrowly wide, and this is just in the 23rd minute. It's another chance for Arnold trying to find Weghorst, another chance that skims wide. 4 or 5 opportunities within those opening 20 minutes. I could not believe we didn't get a single goal out of it, as that's just going to continue in the 44th. Saved by Asenio, one final chance in the 45th minute, and it's Pongrasic, our center back, to miss this one. I think that miss was largely due to not being in these sort of positions usually, as I don't think he's netted a goal for us yet at Wolfsburg. Those missed chances may come back to haunt us, as now Dortmund with some newfound momentum. They were fortunate not to go down early in this match, and they do actually go in front courtesy of a volleyed effort from Jadon Sancho, one of, if not their highest rated player in the squad. Now, the whole question is whether we'll be able to respond, and it's Dalot sending a good through ball to Rashica. Unfortunately, the touch was too heavy and Asenio was quick to come off of his line. Just a few minutes later, it's Schlager playing through Origi. The run was perfect. It just seemed like we had some early season struggles in regards to our finishing. And when you don't convert your chances, the computer is just going to find a way to demoralize you. Now it's Hazard. I'm not sure about this lock-on system as it somehow finds Haaland. It's just a tap-in for him, but surely we had a player in front of the ball getting through 2 or 3 of our defenders and pretty much sealing the deal for Dortmund with just 14 minutes left in this one. It went from bad to worse as Dortmund hung on to more of the ball, now playing an over-the-top through ball out wide to Sancho, spawning out the run in the middle. Had a couple of players to choose from, and eventually it will be a diving effort and a diving header from Erling Braut Haaland, netting a brace in his first match of the season, and Dortmund will be able to capitalize off this victory in the Super Cup. I think at this point in the save, it's really going to be a 3-horse race between us, Dortmund, and Bayern, who is going to win the Bundesliga title. And as we start thinking about future matches, it's important that we move on from this and start to capitalize more on last season's momentum, because this squad is not going to reach too much higher of a rating. A few of our players will begin to decline very soon. So if we don't end up winning the Bundesliga this season, we may need to look to bring in some younger players to the squad. A chance for us to redeem ourselves in the UEFA Super Cup against Champions League winners Manchester City. It's no surprise that they were able to find success in Europe as they have a very stacked squad, and that team is only better with the addition of Mbabu at the right back position. Good to see that he has made his way into the starting 11. We won't be able to see De Bruyne in our squad though. He is suffering a 1-match ban in European competitions, and that will be enacted for this fixture. That does mean we'll turn to one of our heroes from last season, Julian Draxler, as he tries to fight his way back into our starting 11. I think it's fair to say that Draxler was a man on a mission in this one. We're going to win back possession in the first minute straight after kickoff, and Draxler just doing what he does. The 5-star weak foot means that Ederson has no chance of guessing where this ball is going to be finished, and of course, Draxler is going to tuck it away into the bottom corner. A great way to start this one, especially after last match's loss. The curious thing about Ultimate Difficulty is that defenders seem to want to win back possession, and as a result, you can drag them out of position. It's going to open up a whole lot of space for our on-running midfielder. It's Arnold who doubles our lead in the 21st minute. So clearly things are going better for us in this one as we try to keep that momentum going. As Rashica finding Baku, now Origi, quick one-touch passes, and Draxler will get his brace in the 57th minute. I was getting Europa League vibes from last season with how we were playing, not giving up a lot of chances defensively and just playing with a lot of confidence, including this distribution from Castells, finding a wide open Rashica. No idea why City had just one defender back, as this should have been a goal had it not been for a great save and clearance by Ederson and Mbabu. But that's not going to stop us from continuing the press. Even with this match pretty much secured, we're going to look to get a 4th goal, and it's Origi who gets just that in the 67th minute. With the clock ticking down, it's going to be Rashica trying to get something on the board for him. He was an impact player that didn't get too many accolades, but he will get an assist, courtesy of an amazing header from Origi. You know, Weghorst is usually going to be our target man and the one scoring headers, but he just rose well and scored a very similar goal to what Jovetic had a couple of episodes ago against us. That will be the final highlight though, as City just want to get this match over with, and we'll be lifting our first trophy of the season. Usually not something that happens in these episodes. We have to wait for the even numbered episodes, but it's going to be Draxler who captained the side and will be able to get some success here. And I think the performance definitely shows that he can still play a role for us in the starting 11, whether it's centrally at that center attacking mid position or even out wide on the wings. Definitely something that we'll need to think more about, because we've got a lot of high rated players in the squad now that we're a few seasons in, and I'm going to justify giving certain players a start depending on how good their form is. There are pros and cons of competing in these early season Super Cups. On one hand, we've already secured a trophy. On another, we've got 3 matches played in a single week, as now we turn our attention to the Bundesliga and Stuttgart. The last time we played these guys, I think it ended in a 3-3 or a 4-4 draw, so definitely a high scoring one. We'll see if that remains the same for this match. Stuttgart will open up the highlights with a big switch of play to De Rossen. They've managed to sign him away from Hertha Berlin, actually one of the highest potential players in the Bundesliga, but I wanted to focus this on Dalla as he gets the seal of approval from John Anthony Brooks, one of the more experienced defenders that we've got here at Wolfsburg. But now in the 10th minute, it's going to be continuing with these attacking themes. as we play the ball across to Weghorst, and in front of goal, you know he's not going to be missing from there. We haven't seen a whole lot from De Ketelaere in recent episodes. I would say ever since we brought in Rashica, he has fallen down in our squad selection, but I'll still feature him every now and then, especially because we've got a lot of competitions for this 4th season. But this is going to be a good bit of pressure from Stuttgart, as it's Wamanatuka getting by our defenders and providing that effort on target. Castell is able to make the save, and now we're approaching the halftime break as Weghorst plays across to De Bruyne, blocked by Stuttgart. And unfortunately, we do suffer an injury right around this mark. Brooks will need to be taken off. Luckily, we have Gabriel available as a substitute. Fortunately, the injury is not as bad as it could have been. Brooks missing about a month. I think this will be a good chance for Gabriel to prove himself in the starting 11. I definitely see the long-term advantages of starting him because he has a higher potential than Brooks. It's just that I'm so used to using Brooks in game and that partnership that he's developed with Pongrasic. It's tough to put that player on the bench all of a sudden, but this is going to be an atrocious miss from Kevin De Bruyne. I was expecting him to be performing better, especially the price tag that we brought him in for, but I'll still give him some time. You got to remember that his sharpness isn't quite yet at 100% because we brought him in fairly late in the transfer window. Fortunately, though, Brekalo will be able to double our lead in the 79th minute. Slowly but surely, Brekalo has managed to become one of the higher-rated players in this Wolfsburg squad, especially now that he's a left winger instead of a left midfielder, so we'll get a slight boost because of that. A good start to our Bundesliga campaign, though, as we pick up 3 points as we try to challenge for the title. Our Champions League group consists of both some familiar teams as well as some new opponents, PSG, Milan, and Midtjylland. It's Milan that we begin the Champions League gameplay with, the standout player in their squad being Donnarumma, the highest potential goalkeeper in FIFA 21. That midfield partnership of Tonali, Kessie, and Çalhanoğlu also looking very strong. Despite that, we did manage a 1-0 win in the simulated fixture, Roussillon picking up the only goal. But a different story may be told at the San Siro, as this is truly a home field advantage for Milan as they compete to be one of the top teams in our Champions League group. This match truly was a defensive battle, but we will begin the highlights in the 9th minute, courtesy of a chance from De Bruyne. Still yet to find his shooting boots here at Wolfsburg, but I think every other aspect of his game has been solid, as it's Milan who try to answer back with a long shot from Kessie. Had that gone in, that would have been goal of the career mode, either for or against us. As we make a substitution in the second half, I've kind of been preferring Origi as a striker compared to Weghorst. I think he just offers a different dynamic in his game, and as showcased from the Manchester City match, he can even be a target man. But we got a good sequence of build-up play here, cleared away from Bednarek. Some signs of momentum, though, as Origi playing through Draxler. And once again, when we need a goal, Draxler always manages to deliver, and that goal basically guaranteed him a spot in our starting 11. I had been considering it after his performance against Manchester City, but now with goals in back-to-back matches. A good start to the Champions League, though, as we pick up 3 crucial points as we try to advance out of our group stage for the first time in this career mode. In my opinion, one of the keys to success of advancing out of your Champions League group is picking up wins in the matches you should be winning. This fixture against Midtjylland is one of those matches. While both the Milan and PSG fixtures could end either way, we've got more quality in our side than Midtjylland. That was represented in the simulated match as we won 3-1. We can't take teams like this for granted, though. In the last 2 seasons, we've either picked up a loss like we did against Celtic or a draw in the weakest opponents in our group per se. I'm looking to change that, though, as in the 19th minute, it's going to be Philip played through a heavy touch, and he spots out the run from Origi. Again, one of these RBY or R1 triangle crosses that just lock on perfectly, and Origi continues his goal scoring form to put us in front. We'll try to increase that lead as De Bruyne is played through here, spotting out some runs in the middle and eventually finding Draxler, who gets his effort blocked by the Midtjylland defenders. And they had some alright sequences of build-up play. This one in the midfield was not great as Arnold takes the ball away. De Bruyne spotting the run from Origi, a fake shot for a burst of pace, and unfortunately the shot goes wide. I need to be sure to continue using finesse shots inside the box. They are just truly more effective than your regular power shots with a higher shot error that we have enabled. But now De Bruyne, some creativity from him, finding Oosterwolde, one of the few starts that he's gotten so far for us at Wolfsburg. I mean, he spent his entire career here pretty much on loan, And now that this is one of the final seasons of the save, I figured we may as well give him a chance, even if he's not our first choice center midfielder. But this match was stuck at 1-0 for the longest time, despite a good chance there from Origi. It was again blocked, and despite a valiant effort from Midtjylland, we will walk away from this one with 3 more points. Our form so far has been good, but I would argue that PSG are the most difficult opponent in our group. They got the better of us last season, and we'll try to turn that around here against a team that is rotated around. They're still using the 4-2-4, but no Neymar in the starting 11. We also managed to pick up a win in the simulated match, Arnold securing the only goal of the match in the 72nd minute. If there's one player that we can't stop from scoring in this save, it would have to be Mbolo. He seems to follow us around everywhere, as in back-to-back seasons he will open up the scoring for PSG in the Champions League, giving them the advantage in the 33rd minute. We try to answer, though, as in the 38th minute, it's going to be De Bruyne playing a ball through to Origi. The improvement in pace compared to Weghorst is definitely a useful asset here, even though it didn't work out on that occasion. It's something that we're going to utilize more for the rest of this save, as De Bruyne will get a chance using a nice fake shot to get by the defenders, and this is where the signing is justified. He can pull off moments of brilliance just like that one, and that will be the difference maker for us in the Champions League this season. We still have a whole second half to play, so it really is anyone's match, as we're going to play this ball through to De Silva. I'm really liking him down this left-hand side, and you will see more of De Silva featured in the rest of this 4th season. By far our best Youth Academy player promotion, and he's quickly approaching the 80s for an overall. Always a marquee moment in any save. But in the later stages of this match, we got some tense scenes. Initially, the effort was blocked by Sarr, but we're unable to get this chance cleared, as some good pressure from PSG will lead to another opportunity. It's Mbolo who we try to contain, and finally, we get hold of possession. Arnold starting the counterattack, playing through De Silva, spotting out the run from Origi, and as coolly as you like, he's going to finesse this one by Areola and the sliding PSG defender. You can make the argument that Origi has been the best value signing that we've brought in so far for Wolfsburg, always netting goals on big occasions, including this one against PSG. But we'll get into the mid-season recap now, see how we did in our Champions League group as well as the Bundesliga. I would say our outing in the Bundesliga was an improvement from last season, as we currently sit 2nd compared to our 5th place finish last year, but it's still not enough for us to be leading the way, as Bayern have 42 points from 17 matches. They did also win the league fixture that we had in the first half of the season with a 2-0 victory, so our second matchup in the next episode will be absolutely crucial if we want to challenge for the title. As far as our Champions League group stage went, it's amazing the difference that a year can make, as we didn't lose a single match despite having a repeat opponent in PSG, collecting 18 points from 6 matches. That means we've got Atalanta in the round of 16. That match will of course be featured in the next episode. We are still also alive in the DFB Pokal, picking up a 2-0 victory in the second round against Greuther Fürth, a 4-0 victory against Werder Bremen in the third round, which means we'll have a repeat of last year's Pokal final as we match up against Leverkusen in the quarterfinals. Origi is quickly making a name for himself at Wolfsburg, despite being only the 2nd season that he's been at the club. I think he has commanded the starting striker role as we look to transition away from Weghorst and to Origi. He did lead the way with 9 goals from 16 matches, Draxler in 2nd with 8 from 18, Weghorst in 3rd with 7 from 20. Schlager continues his impressive growth, going up +4 in just half a season, now reaching a 90 overall rating and collecting 5 assists from 22 matches. It was De Silva in 2nd with 3 from 13 and Philip in 3rd with 2 from 10. Just one Youth Academy promotion in the first couple of months. Graf is a pretty decently rated 18-year-old left midfielder from Germany. We may look to send him out on loan in the next episode, but the rest of our Youth Academy also looking very strong. And now that we've let some players leave the club in the form of transfers, we might promote some more in the next half of season 4. A big shout out to channel members for supporting the channel. If you do want to learn more about the YouTube membership program, there's a link in the description talking all about it. This will be the squad that we've got rolling into what may be the final episode of this Wolfsburg save. I'll be reading over the comments, kind of getting a feel for whether y'all want to see the series continue, whether it comes to its natural end. But as always, if you have any transfer suggestions, feel free to leave that in the comments. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.